think it's important to remember that health just isn't the absence of disease. So, while we may be feeling physically well, or maybe a few people are getting outside more than they were before, there are a lot of dimensions to wellness and those operating all together, kind of thriving at the same time. I think our initial feelings definitely go towards physical and mental, that we can see the term isolation alone kind of brings out a lot of depression, anxiety, obsessive thinking for people, especially in the current news cycle and trying to just constantly be inundated with information. And then I think just the longer we're staying at home too, this impacts the other dimensions of wellness, like vocational, so hobbies and work-based. Some people being on furlough, losing jobs, limited amount of work they can do if they were hourly employees. Financial wellness can certainly be strained, along with spiritual, not able to go to church or congregate with peers and friends in that capacity. So I think there's a lot of things that can certainly start to have that negative and compounding effect, if you will, to impact health. So very encouraging of getting outside when and where possible. I think there's very few of us who don't go outside at all during the day, even if it is transition between buildings, if that was our normal routine. So getting outside is a great thing to do. Try to practice as much social distancing as you can at that time. But for in-home exercise, body weight is still a great form of exercise to do. So a lot of the same stuff you were doing, but just squats with body weight, push-ups, things like that. If you have limited equipment or able to get creative with equipment at home, even, a set of 3-5-pound weights really does a lot if you have TheraBands or anything like that. And then, if you've got gallon jugs of milk or something like that, once they're empty, fill them with tap water, start to get creative with things that way. And then truthfully, probably one of the industries that is thriving right now is remote or video gym settings. So there's so many apps. Nike has a free app if you've got a Fitbit, or if you've got any of the smart devices with Strava, Garmin, any of those things. They have a lot of programming, coaching, and planning within there. So the old VHS, home workout videos in the 21st century are YouTube. Even on Comcast and DirecTV, a lot of them have fitness channels and free fitness videos you can watch, or some stuff for a fee, certainly. And it might be a great time too if you're home with partners, spouses, kids. Do some partner workouts or things together. Stuff you can still take a class together, or do just the workout together at the same time or something like that. Some people have been working remotely for a week, some people a week and a half, some people are just a couple days now. So just kind of recognizing that, finding your new routine and allowing some flexibility and kind of maybe some self-grace or self-compassion in that. I feel like my fiance and I both found ourselves on different days at the end of the day being like, I don't think I brushed my teeth today. It's just easy to get out of bed, get on the computer and start working. So taking the time to shower or whatever your morning routine is, have breakfast, have the cup of coffee, maybe taking more frequent, smaller breaks. I think it's unrealistic as well in the workforce and in the office to think we're 100% productive 100% of the time. So try not to be kind of minute counting or hour counting and trying to get up to that 8 hours a day, giving yourself a little more of a break there. And just recognizing too, the mental load is different. So, if you're someone who used to be in the office 10 hours a day, still, 7 hours a day of, focused on the screen, answering emails, phone calls, Teams meetings, all that kind of stuff. It's just a completely different workload. So try to keep what routine you can. My encouragement is, maybe change your work landscape when possible. If you're at a desk, can you stack some books and do a standing desk every once in a while? Maybe divert to a couch or something else. I don't encourage the couch all day or in bed all day or something like that, but sometimes a change of scenery. And, as weather starts to get better, do you have a patio, front steps, back porch, or anything like that to get outside a little bit while you can? And I'd say to try to create that sense of normalcy with still, having as much of a 9 to 5 or whatever your kind of schedule is, if you will, not over checking emails over the night or over weekends, and I'm sorry, I have a cat here. Set those clear expectations, with colleagues, with family, with students or whoever, that, you're still highly available, but Monday through Friday. So. And then, setting those clear expectations are helpful. Telling a family member hey, I have a conference phone call. Please don't bother me for 30 minutes while I can get this work done. And that just leads to better boundaries and expectations as well, and kind of avoids some of the resentment that, I'm sure we're all easily agitated and in the close confines with each other at times. Taking care of yourself, taking care of your loved ones is just as important in this time. And there's lots of different ways to do that. Maybe we're afforded a little bit more time to do it, or we're given the time to think about how we want to structure that a little bit more. But it's also, hopefully this is all temporary stuff. So finding kind of an intermediate level of normalcy, before things kind of go back to hopefully maybe not exactly as the way they were before, but right, we can find that level again.